if you want to test strength, you can use here like test your adductors with dynamometry or manually or range of motion in internal and external hip rotation, because in this day mostly players are having a lot of change of directions and accelerations and decelerations. On match day +3, you can use maintenance but individual development work, eccentric work after the session, because imagine if you are doing some eccentric work and eccentric contraction before football part, then maybe the football part will be compromised and you are risking some of the injuries. So eccentric part of the contractions after the session, but normal type of contractions like concentric and isometric, you can work before strength training. So it's not just training before and training after. You can mix different type of exercises before training and after training. Let's say before training you will do squat, lower body squat, hip thrust, and floor press, but after that you will do one set of Nordic, or 2 sets of Nordic 2 times 4 repetitions, and 2 sets of Copenhagen after that exercise. Because as if you remember, keep your high days low high and low days low. This is the idea. And what you can test here, well, it is a big pitch session. You can test your hamstrings and eccentric impulse. On the recovery day, well, I like to use here like individual rebound session. Rebound is the name of one type of session that I checked from, I saw from Joel Jamieson. And what I mean here is that you can have a lot of mobility, breathing exercises, but you have one pure concentric movement, because it's good to activate your body and your athletes a little bit before the end of the session. So in that day, you can use a lot of isometric and concentric, mostly pure type of methods. On that day when you have a recovery, mostly upper oriented, because you don't want to work so much lower body work because you have 2 hard sessions before. And for the upper body, what you can test your radar with the radar gun. If you have something like that, it's also some device that is measuring your speed, velocity. You can measure your medicine ball throws. Let's say it can be a great readiness tool. And now 2 days before a game, you see how that you have a lot of space to work here on strength. And these are just some ideas what you can use on match day -2, match day -1, and also on the match day. So it's not only to work strength here. No, we can work strength during the whole week, but we can use different types of methods and we can use different types of contractions. So contractions of eccentric part at the beginning of the week, isometric in the middle, concentric and isometric closer to the next game, because they activate a lot of, they are good for activation of the central nervous system and the firing rate, but they don't have so much fatigue, especially isometric ones in overcoming method. So let's say match day -1 is the priming neural charge method, isometric concentric contraction before session with the lower body. You can emphasize also here our lower body. You can put also something for the upper body, but mostly I put some, these are the types that you can emphasize during the week. And again, what can help you here is that you need to understand what is happening in the games that your coach can have. So if you're having isolated work, this is something that you can collect in the GPS setting. And if you know that mostly here are working the muscles in concentric and eccentric work, maybe these are the type of contractions that you can use before training and also after training to hit it even more, because you already hit it in a football specific exercise. Or let's say in small sided games, you can have a lot of accelerations and decelerations, and you know that you have a lot of eccentric work for the adductors and flexors, and especially for shooting. So I can use, again here, this type of activation and this type of contraction before that session, but also after it, to develop even more eccentric part of the work, because after this type of hard work we are having, and we should have like a recovery session for that type of contractions and that muscles. And so that's why it's important to understand the football part, because each of these games are impacting differently on the muscles and the type of contractions. So if you know that large sided games are impacting mostly into the hamstrings, into the because of the accelerations and high-speed runs in the eccentric manner, isometric. This is something that you want to hit